Hi guys, welcome back to my Jewish cooking and baking show where we learn how to make all my childhood favorites. Today we are making a classic Jewish food. I probably should have started out with this one. We're making challah. I've only made this one other time and it came out tasting kind of average, so I'm hoping that this time it will be a little bit better. The first time I made it was actually with Chabad, and so because that's kind of a social thing, I feel like I wasn't giving it my full focus. So I'm hoping, now I'm by myself, I'm in my own kitchen, I'm hoping that we'll have a better result. It's Thursday, it's the night before Shabbat. I would normally go out and buy a challah. If this ends up being a fail, I do have a really good place in Brookline that I can go get one. But I am hoping that I can master making challah on my own and that I won't need to drive 20 minutes out of my way to buy a challah every week. This recipe I'm using makes 2 challahs, so if it works out well, I can freeze the other and then only have to do this every other week, which would be really awesome. So the great thing about this is we can use my new stand mixer. I feel like this stand mixer is kind of changing my life. So to start off, we're gonna use a cup of warm water. I've already put that in our handy dandy stand mixer. And then I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of sugar, dissolve that, and then I'm gonna add in the yeast and wait until that foams up. So that should take about 5 to 10 minutes. I have my sugar in this cute little canister. Maybe I should keep this out, it's so pretty. I'm just mixing the sugar in the water. I really need to get a cute spoon rest. If you guys have any ideas on where I could do that, comment below and let me know. There was this one from Anthropologie I wanted to get, but it was pink and my boyfriend was just not into everything in our apartment being pink, so can't really blame him for that. Also, I just realized that I'm matching with my stand mixer. How cute is that? Okay, sorry, back to the challah. So I went to Walmart, I got us some active dry yeast, and we're just gonna put 1 packet in here. Okay, now we're just gonna leave that in there, and in 5 to 10 minutes it should get foamy. Then we're gonna add in our remaining sugar, oil, honey, and eggs, and then we're gonna whisk it. My yeast is starting to look like it's foamy, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my whisk attachment to my KitchenAid. Now I'm going to add in 6 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 cup of olive oil, and 1/4 cup of honey. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in 3 eggs. Okay, now we've added in our ingredients. I'm just going to whisk this. I'm whisking this on medium speed. Oh, my KitchenAid isn't even plugged in. Okay, plugging it in will definitely help. Once all these ingredients are incorporated, I'm just going to take this off and switch to my dough hook. Okay, we're back with the dough hook. This is actually my first time using my dough hook. Very exciting. Now I'm going to add in 5½ cups of bread flour, not regular flour, bread flour. That's very important. And we're going to mix this on low speed and then slowly increase to medium until we get our dough. You could do this by hand, but it's going to take you a lot longer. But it would be a really good arm workout. I don't know. Now that I have this, I just don't want to do anything by hand. So there's that. Okay. I'm going to add in my salt first, just so I don't forget. Now I'm going to add in 5½ cups of bread flour. I'm using the flour from King Arthur Baking because I just feel like their products are superior to any other baking products out there. Okay. I've added in all our flour, and now I'm going to put this on, mix this together on low, and then slowly increase it to medium. dough is starting to come together, which is super exciting. Now that my dough has formed, I'm gonna transfer it to my surface and I'm gonna knead it a little bit more. Then I'm gonna move it to a bowl, which I have already greased down. And then we're just gonna let it rise for a couple hours. I kneaded this for about 3 more minutes by hand. And now I'm just gonna form this into a ball. Now I'm gonna put this in my bowl. I'm gonna cover it in plastic wrap. And we're gonna let this proof for an hour to 2 hours. We want it to double in size. So this is what it looks like now. When we come back in 2 hours, it should be double. It's been like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. My dough has doubled in size. So now I'm gonna take this out and cut it in half, and we get into the hard part, which is braiding the challah. I was having such a hard time forming these pieces of challah into strands, and I realized it's because my surface had too much flour. So I kind of gave up on this other set of dough, and I'm just moving on to the second half. And now it's a lot easier to work with. So that's just definitely something you should keep in mind if you're doing this at home. Lots of flour is not your friend. Not at this stage, at least. So I'm gonna keep rolling, and then we will get to braiding. Okay, it took me a minute to figure out the right way to do this, but I feel like the most efficient way is to first roll out your dough a little bit using this rolling pin from IKEA. You wanna get your dough pretty flat. I'll lower the camera so you can actually see what I'm doing. You don't wanna get too much flour on this, otherwise it's gonna prevent you from being able to roll this into strands. So you're really gonna put a lot of your body weight into this. And if you have any sort of problems with your wrists, like arthritis or any sort of wrist injury, this probably is not for you. Or you just gotta have a friend to help you with this part, because I don't have any health issues and I can feel this hurting my wrists right now. Then you're gonna fold this up. This is to help prevent air bubbles from getting in. You're just gonna use your thumbs like this. And now we can roll this out a little bit better. If you get too much flour in this, you're not gonna be able to keep these strands together, which is what happened to me here. You want each strand to be about the same length. You also want the ends of the strands to be thinner, and you want the middle to be a bit thicker. I'm gonna go ahead and just roll this last strand, and then we can finally get to braiding our challah. Yay! Okay, we finally have all 4 strands rolled out, so we can actually get to braiding our challah. Okay, I am so confused. I need to watch like a TikTok on this. Before I let my challah rise more, I'm just gonna brush it with about half my egg. Then I'm gonna let it rise for an hour and a half, and we can bake it and brush it with more egg before we bake. I would consider myself to be a very directionally challenged person, so braiding that challah was so difficult for me. So I'm just gonna brush about half my egg onto this challah. Okay. Now that I finished that, I'm just gonna let this rise for an hour and a half, and then we can actually bake it. See you in a little bit. Hi guys, it's been about an hour and a half, so we're gonna coat the challah with the rest of the egg and bake it for a half hour. This looks so good. I just got this new pastry brush, which is perfect timing, because I've been doing so much baking lately. Last week I made Hamantaschen. I think a couple weeks before that I made Rugula. Of course, I filmed all of those for YouTube, so go ahead and watch those if you haven't already. I'm trying to make sure I get like every inch of this challah because we want it to be really brown. Now I'm just going to sprinkle some sesame seeds on top because that's my favorite type of challah. I'm also going to do a little bit of salt. Okay, now we're actually ready to put this in the oven. This is what it looks like. And yeah, now we just have to bake it for a half hour and then we are all done. I finally finished making my challah. Look how pretty this is. It cooled off so we can finally slice into it and see if it's any good. And if it's not, I'm gonna be really sad. This is what it looks like. It's really good. I hope you guys try this. If you do, let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!